Hey everyone, I thought I'd do a little story time since we're only a couple of days away from the official start of spring on the 21st here. I thought we would start talking about one of my favorite things about this time of year is the whole idea of planting seeds and seeing what grows and growing your own garden. So it's something you could do while you're at home right now with your parents if you have any seeds left over from last year, or if you have some fruit or veggies in your refrigerator, taking those seeds out, saving them, and then planting them. So I'm going to read through this book, From Seeds to Plants by Gail Gibbons, and we're going to talk about some different plants and what's going on right now. So like I said, the book is From Seed to Plant by Gail Gibbons, and you see here that you can start off with the first page here talking about most plants make seeds, and a seed contains the beginning of a new plant. So on this page here, you can see there are many different types of plants. There's the tulip, there's the daisy, there's a rose, there's a lily. There's just a lot of different types of plants out there. What would be great is if you walk outside around your house in your neighborhood, keep the social distancing away from other people, but look and see if you can see anything blooming. What kind of plants do you see blooming right now? Maybe you can identify them with your parents. So seeds are different shapes, sizes, and colors. So if you look around, there's lots of different types of seeds. They're not all the same. The sunflower, all seeds grow into the same kind of plant that made them. So sunflower seeds, if you have some of those around, they make sunflowers. This little acorn here makes an oak tree. So it comes from an oak tree and it makes more oak trees. So whatever plant the seed comes from makes a new one of those plants. So you have the apple tree, the dandelion that we see a lot around here. Many plants grow flowers. Flowers are where most seeds begin. So the flower part of the plant is where seeds begin. So have you seen like insects that go to the plants? Have you heard of bees? Yeah, bees go to the plants, and those bees help pollinate or make the plants be able to have seeds again so they can grow. This page here talks about a flower is made up of many parts. So one of the cool things is that a flower is not just the petals. If you look inside, you can see these different things. You'll see a thing called the pistil, a stigma, the stamens, and pollen. Pollen you hear with bees. Bees go around and pollinate plants. Before a seed can begin to grow, a grain of pollen from the stamen must land on the stigma at the top of the pistil and a flower like itself. This is called pollination. So one flower needs to get some of that pollen from another flower of the same type so that it can actually be pollinated and make seeds. Pollination happens in different ways. Often, wind blows pollen from flower to flower. So when it's a nice breezy day, the pollen can flow. Bees, like I just said a little while ago, other insects, and even hummingbirds, have you seen a hummingbird? Help pollinate too while they visit flowers for their sweet juice called nectar. Pollen rubs onto their bodies. You see the hummingbird here? Have you seen one of those around? Then they carry the pollen to another flower where it comes off onto the pistil. So you see that the bees and the hummingbirds take the pollen from one flower to another. If a pollen grain from a flower lands on the pistil of the same kind of flower, it grows a long tube through the pistil into the ovule. This is the beginning of a seed. Do you see the long tube being formed here and how it's growing down to the ovule? And now we have seeds being produced. The seed grows inside the flower. Even as the flower begins to die, as the seed becomes bigger, a fruit or pod grows around them. The fruit or pod protects the seeds. So if you see a pea plant with the pod, that's because the flower was pollinated and inside are seeds or peas for the peas or the beans, whatever type of plant it is. Here you can see the fruit being made. So like apples and other trees, they produce a fruit that has the seeds inside. The seeds grow inside the flower even as the flower begins to die. As the seeds become bigger, a fruit or pod grows around them. The fruit or pod protects the seeds. So that's why there's a fruit or a pod along with the seeds. When the fruit or pod ripens, it breaks open. The seeds are ready to become new plants. So you see, when that fruit ripens, it becomes ready to disperse the seeds or make the seeds spread. Some seeds fall into the ground around the base of the plant where they grow. So some seeds just fall right to the ground, right where the plant that they're growing from. Some pods or fruits open and the seeds pop out. Sometimes when birds eat berries, they drop seeds. So sometimes animals like birds and other animals will eat the fruit and take the seeds other places. Other seeds fall into streams, ponds, rivers, or the ocean. There they travel on the water until they stick to the dirt along the shore. So sometimes the seeds get into the waterways and then they flow downstream, or they go into a pond or a river or the ocean and go somewhere else to be planted when they wash up on shore. The wind scatters seeds. Some seeds have fluff on them that lets them float to the ground like tiny parachutes. Others have wings that let them spin as they fall. The dandelion is good for one that's carried by the wind. And have you seen these? Maple trees make these and they spin around. You'll see them in the fall spinning around, and you play with them, throw them up in the air and they spin. Animals help scatter seeds too. They hide acorns and nuts in the ground. Some seeds have hooks that stick to the fur of animals or people's clothes. Later they drop off onto the ground. So sometimes when that squirrel puts those acorns in the ground, he might or she might forget about them, and then they grow into a tree, an oak tree. Have you seen these? These are ways that seeds get spread around or dispersed. They can be stuck to you as you walk around, and then you help spread the seeds as well. A flower bed or a vegetable garden is beautiful. Seeds are planted to grow in the gardens. So are you planting a vegetable or flower garden? The seeds come in small envelopes or boxes. Directions explain how to plant the seeds and care for them. So on the seed package, it will tell you how to grow the plant and how to take care of it. The beginning of a plant is curled up inside each seed. Food is stored inside the seed too. The seed has a seed coat on the outside to protect it. You see, there's a lot of food inside the seed to help make that baby plant grow, so that when it's not producing its own food through photosynthesis, it has enough energy to grow. A seed will not sprout until certain things happen. First, it must be on or in the soil. Then it needs to rain to soak the seed and soften the seed coat. So it needs the soil for nutrients, and it needs the water from the rain to help it grow so it can actually start growing. When the sun shines and warms the ground, the seed coat breaks open and the seed begins to grow. This is called germination. You can germinate seeds inside right now. Sometimes it helps give you a head start on the growing season. A root grows down into the soil. The root takes in water and minerals from the soil for food. Up grows a shoot. Green leaves grow up from the shoot toward the sun. So soon after you plant that seed, you'll start seeing a shoot. The green leaves will come out of the ground, and that's the plant growing. The plant grows bigger and bigger. The leaves make food from the plant from the water and minerals in the soil, the sunlight and the air all around the plant. So this is when the seed now is a full-grown plant, still growing, not full-grown, but grown out of the ground, that it's actually producing its own food through photosynthesis. Finally, the plant is full-grown. Buds on the plant open and into flowers where new seeds will grow. So the whole thing starts over. That one seed now produces a plant. The plant now has flowers. Those flowers will be pollinated. It will make seeds, and then they can grow more plants. Many of the foods people eat are seeds, fruits, and pods. They are full of nutrition, vitamins, and minerals. Do you see a lot of things that you eat? What do you eat from this picture? Do you eat peas, tomatoes, strawberries, the pumpkin, the carrots, the corn? They are tasty too, right? Vegetables and fruits are pretty good for you, and they taste really good. So there's a project here, what you can do. you can get different plants and raise them at home. So you can look things up online about how to germinate or sprout your seeds so that you can grow your own plants this year. Please, if you do some gardening and growing some plants, post your pictures on our Facebook page in the comments below. So make sure that you understand that it's going to take a while. There are a life cycle to the different things. So this is the life cycle of a pea plant. It shows you from step 1, from the pea all the way through to planting it, the actual plant growing, and then the plant getting flowers again and producing more peas. This is one of my favorites all year is the apple. The apple tree life cycle, you can see the seed coming inside the apple. You plant those seeds, you get a little tiny apple tree growing, and then it keeps on growing until it becomes an adult tree with flowers. Those flowers get pollinated, and then finally in step 5, you get an apple tree producing more apples. So please, again, show us if you plant any trees, enjoy the nice weather the next couple of days, and go outside and look for signs of plants flowering and the whole life cycle of plants.